Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on NTD Television. I'm Steve Lance. The classified documents saga continues. Today, former Vice President Mike Pence saying he too found classified documents at his home. NTD's Iris Tao brings us more.
More classified documents are found, this time at former Vice President Mike Pence's home. According to Pence's team, on January 16th, his lawyers found a small number of documents with classified markings at Pence's Indiana home. They notified the National Archives 2 days later and formally informed the Congress on Tuesday, January 24th. The documents have now been turned over to the FBI. All this despite Pence's previous remarks.
Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House or remained in our possession.
The discovery came when Pence's team searched his home after learning the classified documents were found at Biden's home. The White House on Tuesday refrained from commenting on Pence's case.
Look, I'm not going to comment on any ongoing criminal investigation or any investigation.
Meanwhile, some lawmakers on the Hill are questioning if it shows a larger issue with classified documents in general.
Let's find out how that happened. You got Trump, you got Pence, you got Biden. Maybe we're overclassifying things. That may be part of the problem. But count me in for getting this fixed.
And House Oversight Chair James Comer, the Republican who's leading a probe into Biden's handling of documents, says Pence has agreed to fully cooperate with congressional oversight. Comer did take the chance to criticize Biden, though, adding on Tuesday that Pence's transparency stands in stark contrast to Biden White House staff, who continues to withhold information from Congress. This amid already intense scrutiny over Biden's handling of classified papers. Biden, meeting with Democratic lawmakers on Tuesday, did not take reporters' questions. And the White House continues to deflect any questions about Biden's documents.
Has the president invited the Justice Department to search his Rehoboth Beach house?
Again, I would refer you to the White House counsel's office. Just don't have anything to share.
The Justice Department wouldn't say on Tuesday if it would appoint a special counsel to investigate documents at Pence's home. Now, both the current and former president are under DOJ investigations. Reporting from the White House, Iris Tao, NTD News.
We've all been through it. Search for something on Google, then an advertisement for that very item pops up. Today, the Justice Department and 8 states are suing the tech giant for monopolizing the online advertising space.
We alleged that Google has used anti-competitive, exclusionary, and unlawful conduct to eliminate or severely diminish any threat to its dominance over digital advertising technologies.
The complaint also alleges that Google has bullied advertisers into using its proprietary technology products. The suit marks the Biden administration's first blockbuster antitrust case against a big tech company. The Trump administration sued Google in 2020 for anti-competitive results in search and advertising, and that case is still ongoing. A debt ceiling showdown unfolding in D.C. as President Biden meets with congressional leaders today to start talking about how to get enough support on Capitol Hill to further raise the $31 trillion debt limit. NTD's Melina Wisecup brings us more from Capitol Hill.
Congressional Democrats, including Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and House Democrat Leader Hakeem Jeffries, along with others, going to the White House today to meet with President Biden on raising the debt limit. The Treasury has announced the U.S. has reached its $31.4 trillion cap, and raising the debt limit this year will not be easy. House Republicans are using it as an opportunity to force budget changes. One recent proposal coming from House Republican Representative Buddy Carter and endorsed by a handful of other Republicans is called the Fair Tax Act. Now, it would essentially eliminate personal, corporate, and payroll taxes and abolish the IRS. This has left the door open for sharp Democrat criticism. Here's Senate Leader Chuck Schumer today.
To give GOP radicals a vote on a 30% national sales tax across the board, they're welcome to make their case, make our day. Similarly, if Republicans want to play brinksmanship with deficit and demanding cuts, they need to show us exactly what they want to cut.
And Speaker McCarthy has said that House Republicans will look at every area of spending to look at where they can reduce or cut what they call wasteful spending. Now, I asked Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell today if he thinks that this hard-line negotiating tactic that House Republicans are using is needed to get the debt under control. Here's what he told me. So do you think that this sort of hard-line negotiation tactic that House Republicans are using with regards to the debt limit is necessary in order to get the debt under control?
This is a good time to talk about it, to try to get an outcome. But the second part of what I said was, I can't imagine any debt ceiling agreement that would get 60 votes in the Senate that would have any chance of passing the House.
McConnell also tells us that he believes that Senate Republicans will need to play sort of a backseat role in these debt limit talks because he says the deal essentially needs to be met between President Biden and Speaker McCarthy. Now, McCarthy did publicly accept President Biden's request to meet, on Twitter writing, he's looking forward to discussing a responsible debt ceiling increase to address irresponsible government spending. Meanwhile, the White House says that they don't plan to negotiate any spending cuts with McCarthy, and instead they just plan to relay that same message that it's Congress's duty to raise the debt limit, and this issue is non-negotiable. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
In addition to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, Republicans in Congress are also turning their attention to energy infrastructure. To discuss the latest moves, we spoke with Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma earlier today. The senator just introduced his first bill, and it's about cross-border energy infrastructure. The bill aims to reduce federal regulation and empower states to have more authority over their energy production. Senator Markwayne Mullin, thank you so much, and congratulations on your Senate bid.
Thank you. We're pretty excited to be here.
I would like to ask you about your first order of business as a senator when it comes to domestic energy security. Right. You're introducing legislation. If you could tell us about what you plan to do.
Well, we've talked multiple times, and I've always said that the backbone of our economy is energy. You can't make a product or deliver a product without energy. Energy is the first thing it takes to make a product, and it's what it takes to deliver that product. So you can't have reliable and affordable product if you don't have reliable and affordable energy. And what's unfortunate is that we have seen Washington, D.C., especially this administration, play games with our energy. And if they're going to play games with it, then we need to take it out of their hands. And when you start talking about some of the legislation, our first act is to get the economy back on track. And regulation has always been a huge issue to me. You know, I've told people multiple times that it is not Washington, D.C. that creates jobs. Washington, D.C. is to create an environment for entrepreneurs and job creators to create jobs. It's also not Washington, D.C.'s position, and it shouldn't be their position, to choose the products, choose the industry. That is the consumer that makes those decisions. But right now, you're having D.C. elites, bureaucrats, making those decisions for us. So if they're going to play this game, and it looks like they're going to, then we need to take it out of their hands. We need to remove it from that temptation to play political games and have somebody from California making decisions for Oklahoma.
I want to ask you about the Strategic Petroleum Reserves. Yesterday, Energy Secretary Granholm was at the White House press briefing podium where she said that the Biden administration would essentially not support restricting the release of these reserves. How do you react to that?
Well, they're playing political games with it. See, they use the Strategic Petroleum Reserves, SPR, which is supposed to be for national security emergency purposes, for political ploy. They released a tremendous amount of it right before the midterm elections because they wanted to bring down gas prices. We're at the lowest level we've been since 1984, yet we're at a very vulnerable time around the world. We see the aggressiveness of Putin and we see the aggressiveness of China, and we're at the lowest level we've been. And what we're saying is listen, you're playing games with using the SPR for something that wasn't supposed to be used for. You're using it to bring down gas prices. She even said it as much, and even Biden said it himself. So if we're going to do that, Cathy McMorris Rodgers has introduced a bill that would take it out of their hands and say you can't use it except for these specific purposes. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with outlining exactly what the SPR is designed for? And we support that wholeheartedly. Of course they're going to push back on it though, because to them, they're attacking the oil and gas industry, but yet they know it's the driver of our economy. So they're robbing the piggy bank today, but who's going to refill it later? All the taxpayers.
I mean, you touched upon it. A lot of these reserves were actually being sold to our adversaries.
Absolutely.
China specifically, but is there a way to actually sell oil to other countries, domestic production, without tapping into our strategic reserve?
Well, absolutely. Underneath the Trump administration, we became a net exporter. We were exporting nearly 1 million barrels per day underneath Trump. Today, we're importing that same amount. So we don't have to tap our strategic oil or strategic petroleum reserves, SPR. We don't have to attack that. All we have to do is let the industry go. If other countries want to do business with us, great. Let's do business with them. Why should we send them to OPEC? And why should we be going to OPEC and be going to Venezuela and still buying products from Russia, which we still are because we haven't eliminated that? Why are we doing that when just 2 years ago, a very short 2 years ago, we were a net exporter? It's because of this administration's horrible policies and attack on energy. At the same time, they know that the use and consumption of petroleum products, be it from fuel or products that it's made with, have actually increased underneath their administration.
Senator Markwayne Mullin, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.